How about that cigar?
How about that cigar?
Garrett is robotic this evening. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode number
71.
Episode number 71 of How About That Cigar Live. Thank you guys so much for joining us, watching live on Facebook, watching live on YouTube. We are grateful that you guys are spending the favorite night of the week, Tuesday night, with us live here on How About That Cigar. We are, as always, guys, coming to you from the Drew Estate Cigar Studios. And we want to tell you once again about the beautiful new Deadwood Leather Rose, shipped now to all retailers nationwide, uniting with her sisters, Sweet Jane, Fat Bottom Betty, and Crazy Alice. The spicy Leather Rose is the boldest lady of the bunch.
She's a dirty girl.
This 5x54 torpedo features a rich Maduro wrapper and proves to be the spiciest of the Deadwood family. Lighting up the Leather Rose will fill the room with her exotic aroma. Plus, the effortless draw will leave you longing for more.
You want more.
The Deadwood Leather Rose is a 5x54 torpedo packaged in 24-count boxes and will be did ship in July. For more info, please visit drewestate.com.
You were thinking about packages.
I was. Yeah, I can't think 8th grade level when I start hearing words like that. So, guys, as always, we're grateful that you are spending your Tuesday night with us.
Yes.
It is another beautiful evening here in Minnesota at the Drew Estate Cigar Studios. We're excited. There's so much great stuff going on in the world. I mean, I know COVID is crazy. We're all kind of under this thing that we're living under right now, but we're trying to focus on the positive. There's good stuff going on too. So, you know, get your mind out of the gutter sometimes. Get away from Facebook. Get out there in the world with your family and just go explore someplace outside that you haven't been before. It's
plenty of stuff to celebrate. Dwayne Johnson got married. I mean,
Dwayne Johnson got married?
The Rock.
I feel something.
No,
there's
I
thought
real.
There was a joke.
There's no joke other than
a joke coming.
I just dropped a Dwayne Johnson reference on our show.
Is Matt. Oh, quick. Q, am I wearing pants?
Ooh.
You know what? I'm going to keep that one to myself.
Yeah.
Maybe I might be wearing pants. I might not be wearing pants. But I'm going to leave that up to your imagination. And for those of you who are listening after the fact on the audio podcast on your favorite podcast platform, thanks so much for listening to us. If you would, please give us a subscription to the podcast so you don't miss any episodes. Do the same on YouTube and the same on Facebook. Just click on the button to get reminders so you will never miss the next time we go live. So Garrett and I have a little Garrett's phone set up here watching the Twins play live. We just started a new series with Milwaukee. And Garrett, we talked about this a little bit before we went live, but the Minnesota Twins finally figured out how to beat the worst team in the division.
How about them apples?
So it's crazy. We just kept losing to Kansas City, who is, I mean, by far the worst team in the division. And then all of a sudden, finally, this last series, we lost the first one, but we took the second 2 games of that series, and finally figured out a way to beat Kansas City.
Yeah, but it was just, I mean, it's classic Minnesota sports. We come out of the gates, and I remember listening early on before, they decided to even do a limited season. A lot of the early experts were saying the team I don't want to face this year is Minnesota. Minnesota fans are like, oh my gosh, it's about time. This is it. This is the year.
Yeah.
And sure enough, we start rocking and rolling. And then Kansas City comes. And they've been sucking.
Yeah, for the not just this season.
Not just this
season.
Last
season too. We couldn't beat them last season, but finally we figured out a way. We started a series tonight with the Brewers, and then oddly enough, as soon as this 3-game series is over with the Brewers, we go right back to another series with Kansas City. So we'll see if it sticks. But, they seem to be playing better baseball. It's so fun to finally have baseball again. But isn't it weird watching the games? We're either watching the games on your phone or on TV or watching the highlights afterwards. It's just so weird.
It is weird.
Whether it's and it's not just baseball. It's hockey and other sports where it's empty stadiums, empty fields, cardboard cutouts of people.
And my favorite cardboard cutout that somebody, so if you don't know, the a lot of teams did was you could purchase or buy a charity donation that put, you could send them your picture and you could be in the stands behind home plate. And what one fan did for the for the St. Louis Cardinals is they made it for
Weekend at Bernie's.
Weekend at Bernie's.
Yeah.
It was the dead Bernie. And he's like,
that was one of the funniest things I've
oh
seen.
my gosh, it was the best.
Yeah.
So hats off to that fan. That was a rock star move.
So it's like I said, guys, it's one of those, and we've been talking about this really ever since this whole COVID thing, started, which goes back to, I think we've been talking about it since February. But get out there and support your local cigar shops. Everybody's got different rules and regulations. Every shop's going to have its own way of doing things right now. So call ahead, find out what they have in stock, find out what their policies are for buying cigars, find out what their policies are for smoking in the lounge. Some still have closed lounges where all you can do is go in and buy your cigars and then go smoke them at home. But call ahead, find out. But please, get out there and support your local cigar shops, because it's and not just your cigar shops, restaurants, shops, bars, whatever it is, whatever you're allowed to do at your local shops, get out there and support them, just because we need those non-massive corporations to, still have a little bit of a foothold. So,
amen.
But let's bring on our special guest this evening. We're so excited to have him on the show. And as always, guys, our special guest segment is brought to you by Corona Cigar Company and coronacigar.com. They are the internet's largest and easiest to use virtual cigar store. Corona Cigar Company offers you the finest handmade cigars, humidors, and cigar accessories at the absolute lowest possible price. And you'll also find unique and limited cigars containing Florida sun-grown tobacco. As a proud American, president and founder of Corona Cigar Company, Mr. Jeff Borshowitz believed it was possible to bring cigar tobacco farming back to Florida. At Corona Cigar Company and coronacigar.com, you'll find the best selection anywhere in the world of cigars containing this special Florida sun-grown tobacco. If you live in Florida or are just visiting, be sure to visit any of the great Corona Cigar locations in downtown Orlando, Sand Lake, Lake Mary, and also the Davidoff Geneva Lounge in Tampa. For more info on all of that, please visit coronacigar.com and floridasungrown.com. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome, put your hands together. Welcome to episode number 71 of How About That Cigar Live from Camacho Cigars, George Rami. George.
What's happening, guys?
It is a beautiful night. We're so happy to have you on the show, brother. Honestly, it's been an exciting time, lately, because we've found, and we talked a little bit about this before the show went live, that we've got this kind of new way that we're getting together with fellow cigar smokers and doing that online thing. So I'm grateful to have you on the show tonight to talk about what's going on with Camacho, to talk about some of the new projects and stuff like that, and the new ways that you guys are interacting with your customers and all that stuff. So thanks so much.
Thank you for having me, man. I'm glad to be here. Glad to be here with you guys. Live from Tampa.
Yeah, live from. So give us an idea, coming to us from your live home studio there. Tell us what you are smoking and drinking along with us this evening.
Well, right now, I'm smoking the Camacho Nicaragua, which is our newest addition to the core line. This one I sent you guys some samples. I believe you guys have tried it. This is the newest addition to our core line. It's the Camacho Nicaragua. The blend breakdown, it's a Habano wrapper. It's got a Honduran binder. And the filler, the dominant tobacco in the filler is a Nicaraguan tobacco from Esteli, right? And that's why it represents about 60% of the filler components. And basically, the name, it is a little different from what we are used to naming our cigars, like the Corojo. We usually name it for the wrapper, but this one we went for the binder, right? And that's where the name Nicaragua came from. The blend, this one fits it fills a gap that we had in our core line as an offering. And as we were talking about earlier, this one fills in that gap. It's a medium to full bodied smoke. very rich in terms of flavor. But it's very, it's got a lot of power, but it's balanced, right? And that's one of those, like, I try to explain it to people. It's kind of wild flavors. You pick up a lot of spiciness, very similar to what you would pick up on the Corojo. But this one in particular, it's kind of, to me, it's a medium to full body. Pretty much I smoke 1 or 2 of these a day, and it's a medium to full body. And definitely that's what I'm smoking right now. Now, you were asking what I'm drinking. I usually go for bourbon or maybe a little rum, but tonight, I'm bringing out, and I think this kind of goes well. Nothing fancy, just a little Johnny Walker Black to go with this one. And I think just the sweetness of the Johnny Black pairs very well with this one, this Camacho Nicaragua. So that's what I'm drinking right now.
Nice.
Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Well, one of the things, George, that we love to get an idea of, because we want to get to know you guys, all the people that we have on the show, we want to get to know everybody's stories, and because the relationships in the cigar business are really strong relationships, and it's such a relationship driven business, and getting to know guys like you who really make these brands tick, finding out about you and kind of where you're coming from. So give us an idea of kind of your cigar origin story. The first time that you sat down and fired up a premium hand-rolled cigar, and what that experience was like for you.
Who are you?
Who are you?
Who is George Rami? Well, I started, in business. I've been in this industry for about 16 years, right? I started in Miami. But prior to that, my father always smoked cigars. I mean, he was still alive. He's a little older right now, so he, smoking less, maybe once a week or something like that. But for a while, he would, in our city in Honduras, I'm from Honduras, he would be known as the cigar guy, right? He would smoke double Coronas, no band, no nothing. So Honduran puros. Now that I know what he smoked. He used to smoke Hoy de Monterey's, the double Coronas, and I remember being a little kid having little boxes to build my little houses and whatever. So I was always around the smoke, right? The boxes, the smell, sometimes, to wake me up. Unfortunately, my father would wake me up with just, puffing some smoke in my face, and I would get up right away and go take a shower to go to school, stuff like that. So I was always around the smoke, and then just the accessories at home, the humidor. So it always called my attention. So when I moved to the U.S., in the year 2000, I'm still young then, but after a few years, I was working in a jewelry shop, and next to it there used to be a cigar shop, and I started working there, just as a sales associate, and then I managed the place, and later on, and and a couple of years later, I partnered up with who was my boss then, and we opened up a store in Miami, in Brickell. Had that for about a good 6 years, and after that I wanted to go into manufacturing, and just I found a lot of barriers, and in that 1 month that was in between not knowing what to do, I got the phone call from Davidoff, and they said they had something for me for Camacho, right? And I knew the brand because I would sell the brand, and I was like, well, okay, let's that's interesting. So I came up here. I mean that I just moved to Tampa, which is where our offices are, and I saw what the new Camacho was going to look like. This is prior to the revamp back in 2013. I'm talking about probably January or February 2013, and I saw what the brand was going to look like, right? And right away it clicked that's what I wanted that again, just because the brand was going to, just the vision of the brand is something that I had not seen in the years that I had been in sales, right? Selling everything at retail. And I just loved it. And, I jumped on board, and I'm working on my 8th year now with Davidoff. That's just a, summarized version of what I've done in my cigar years, which has been 16 and counting for now.
Yeah. Well, we're grateful for these Camacho Nicaraguas. Garrett and I are both firing one up right now as well, and it's and we've already each smoked a couple of the samples, and it's a cigar that I enjoy a lot.
Absolutely, it's a great cigar, and
it's got I agree with you that it's got complexity. There's some kind of interesting things going on that I've noticed in the this is the Toro that we're smoking right now, but the Robusto size and this one as well have this kind of I don't know. It's almost it. I want to sort of use the words. It's got spiciness, but it's also got like a sweet and sour kind of thing.
Yeah,
cooking.
and I get a lot of sweetness, and that spice doesn't come in for me until a little bit later in the cigar. You'll get some on the finish if you really wait for it and pay attention. But that's what I love about this cigar is all of those little notes are. You got to pay attention to this cigar. This isn't a cigar that you just.
But it also has the Camacho flavor profile, right?
It does, man. Absolutely.
And so that's in all of our cigars we have a Corojo in them, right? So that's part of the filler in this one, the binder, and the just that signature flavor profile that the Corojo tobacco that we produce has in our cigars. It keeps everything par, in terms of the flavor, in terms of the similarity of the notes that you'll find in each of our cigars in our core offerings. That's not the case for some of our limited editions because obviously, you reblend and you do different things. But when it comes to our core line, our Criollo, our Connecticut, Ecuador, Corojo, and now the Nicaragua, they all have that Corojo tobacco that keeps that flavor profile, somewhat on a similar level, so that if you have somebody that wants to venture off from a Camacho, Connecticut into a Corojo per se, still has some of those, notes that person has recognized to like in the Camacho, but giving a new dimension, a new exploration dimension in terms of flavor profile. So that's what this one, it's very similar to some of our cigars because of that tobacco that it has, but it does add some complexity and some new boundaries with the tobaccos that we've used. It's a great blend. I mean, this one I tried it 2 years ago when we were blending it, and since that moment we've all agreed in our panel and in all the operations and everything that it's going to be a home run. So this is a very, very good blend. Unfortunately, we released it in this crazy time where I can't go out there and show it and do events and get to talk to our consumers face to face and get their reaction, right at the moment that they're smoking it. But hey, we got to make the best out of it. But the cigar is excellent. It's excellent, not just because obviously I represent the brand or anything, but yeah, it's an excellent cigar that I definitely encourage everybody to give it a shot.
So I want to go back a little bit to maybe some origin stuff and tie it into a viewer question. So Braden is wondering, for those of us who don't really drink alcohol, do you recommend anything that pairs well with cigars that you enjoy? I usually have a Coca-Cola, but wouldn't mind trying something new. So, George, I know Matt and I have different origin stories about pairing stuff. What did that look like for you, and what would you tell Braden?
It depends. Let's just put the Camacho Nicaragua, for example, right? I've tried this one with bourbon. It goes really well. The bourbon of my choice, it's Bullet bourbon. But I think I just didn't get the combination that I wanted. Like I said, what I'm pairing it with right now, it's the my Johnny Walker Black Label blended Scotch. Nothing fancy, but the flavor profiles that has do not overpower the flavor that the cigar is giving me, right? So it's right. I would say, it's 40-60. So the cigar still has a lot more game in my palate. And then just in this example, I have the Johnny Walker Black. The Johnny just complements it, basically. I like to, for example, with the Camacho Connecticut's, I like to drink a very cold beer. I'm when it comes to pairings and stuff like that, I'm not that complicated. An ice cold beer could be an IPA, could be a lager. I like to smoke that with our Camacho Connecticut. Believe it or not, with the Camacho Triple Maduro, for example, which is an excellent cigar, I like to drink it with red wine.
Okay. Any non-alcoholic? Do you ever pair with non-alcoholic items?
Perrier line.
Okay.
Perrier line. I love that. Actually, I left my Yeti somewhere. But Perrier line on a Yeti with ice all day long. Or they have the Bubblies, that brand Bubbly that has all different. The lime one, it's delicious. Yeah. So if I want to not have anything, either a beer or alcohol, that's what I have cases of it in my pantry just because I love that water, but still, just per year and the lime touch to it, it's great. And that one, obviously, you can drink it and at any time of the day, that's no problem. But yeah, per year lime, that's definitely would be my my choice.
Well, and I'll say that I did a couple days ago. I want to say it was Sunday. I smoked one of these Nicaraguas, the Robusto, with iced tea, and I'm one of those guys that I don't like sweet tea. I like really strong brewed iced tea with lemon in it, without any sweetener. And this went really, really well with unsweetened iced tea with lemon in it. But it's really I brew iced tea really super strong. Yeah. It's almost like coffee. It's so strong, the brewed tea that I have, and it went really well with that. So I would highly recommend that.
Yeah, and the other thing that George brings up too is bubbly things, and it looks like George is maybe frozen a little bit. So we'll just kind of talk through this a little bit while we're waiting for him to unfreeze. But the bubbly part really does something to bring out flavors in cigars, or anything that you're trying to pair it with. And so I too like to have a carbonated beverage when I'm smoking. I don't drink. And George is back.
I got disconnected for a second. I believe it was me. Yeah, I think.
It's all good.
Yep, we got you back. Yep, sound good. So I was just talking about having carbonation in a beverage. Those bubbles do something when you're smoking.
Yeah.
I try and stay away from things that have a high sugar content, because that sweetness, especially, I'm not trying to dog on you, Braden, but with a lot of sugar, it's going to really drown out, especially if the cigar is sweet, just a natural sweet. You won't get any of that. You'll get all the Coke, and we know Coke kills. So,
but yeah, I
stay away from sweets like that, like sodas. It's tough, man. It's tough, but it's just so addictive. Coke is so good.
It is.
It tastes.
Especially Mexican Coke.
Oh my God!
Yeah.
Yes, I have to admit, every time I go to Chipotle or Qdoba, I get the Mexican Coke. It's so good.
It is.
It's so good.
So the next one I want to talk about and showcase is, well, actually, before I get to this next one, we have to say congratulations to you that you've got a new little baby.
Woo!
Yes, I got a little newborn.
So you got a baby boy, is that right?
Yeah, it's a baby boy, Sebastian. He's gonna be 3 months next week. So wow. We're in those premature stages of development, and insane crying, obscene amounts of diapers to be changed. Very little sleep. But it's a blessing, man, just to have a little person. And then, thank God, I asked, I received. He's starting to look like me, and the resemblance that because I always said, I'm 35 years old, right? I waited a while, I didn't make any early mistakes or something like that in terms of having a kid and all that. So I waited. At this point, I'm like, okay. Let's just say hypothetically, I'm at half my life. If I double it, I'll be 70 years old. By then, I should have lived my life. But yeah, so I'm like, please, I want to have a boy, and I want to have a little mini me, as cheesy as it sounds. But yeah, so now I have this little person that is starting to look like me and starts to recognize you, and everything is just such a blessing, man. But it's no easy task, let me tell you. It trains you for that. It's a very hectic full-time job, but it's a blessing, man. It's one of those feelings that everybody's like, oh my God, yeah, you'll understand when you have one. I'm like, what are they talking about? Is it something that grows inside of you? Yes, it is unbelievable how it just developed to, like, not waking up in the middle of the night and having to feed him or change him or something, and it's just like, well, you see him, it's like I can't really get mad. It's my baby, and it's just a baby. So
Yeah,
it's one of those, man. What a great feeling. So yeah, thank you guys for
Well, congratulations to you, because it sounds like you're getting up with the baby as well. You're a part of that, and I think every father should be a part of that process.
got to share in that experience.
You really do,
along with her.
And I've had some great father role models, in terms of friends and also other family. That is just, I've had great examples as to how to be a great father. So I intend to follow all those examples that I've accumulated throughout my lifetime.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Congrats.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
So one of the things that we like to help people understand as cigar smokers, whether we've been smoking cigars for a long time or are new to it, is how long the process takes, for getting a concept blend turned into an actual new facing that's going to get, banded and boxed and shipped out there to retailers and then to consumers. And part of that is talking about the 2020 Liberty Series.
Yes.
So, and it's really interesting to me because, this Liberty Series, can you tell us how long ago the development started for this Liberty Series?
2 years ago.
So 2 years ago. So,
2 years ago.
It's interesting because it's almost fortuitous, because this is very different than previous Liberty Series. I mean, you open up this coffin, and you guys can see on the camera here, and if you're listening on the audio podcast, go on Facebook and YouTube and watch the broadcast. But this is a big.
They stuffed it in there.
This is no messing around. A big, beautiful, fat, chunky box press cigar, and this is outside of the norm for what we've seen from the Camacho Liberty Series, and it almost screams the fact that 2020 is such a different year.
That was not on purpose.
This is not on purpose, because this was developed 2 years ago.
Yes,
so it's kind of fortuitous how things like that happen sometimes.
Yeah, so this one was 2 years ago, and just we wanted to do something a little different, like every year, right? And yes, I believe out of the 18 different Liberties, there's been most of them have been the 11-18 size, right? I believe, I don't recall, and as I was actually doing some research on that the other day, and there was one that was another size that we did a very small amount, and then this one, which is a 6x60 Gordo box press on top of that. So this was 2 years ago. The limited amount of tobacco. This is another one that usually we use a lot of Corojo in the blend, and on this one we changed it up a little bit. We used some Habano wrapper on this one. We have some Corojo in the binder, and then the filler is a combination between Dominican and Honduran tobacco, predominantly Honduran tobacco in the filler. But yeah, the flavor profile on this one, it's a little bit different just because of how the size affects the smoke, right?
Yeah,
I think you have more of a looser smoke on this one. It's not as tight the draw. It's I don't know. There's very little resistance that you can find in some of our other ones that you can't find in this one. But it also makes it just perfect because it's a very easy smoke. It's a powerful blend, right? So having those two other things just to ease the way you smoke this cigar, I think they help out. And what I have it back there, our boxes are outstanding, and I think this one I have my little my collection here at home of the lids for the past few years, but this one is just screams attention. With that bald eagle in the front. We use an artist from New York. His handle is Say No Sleep. He's the artist that did that artwork for us for the boxes, and it just those lacquer those boxes with the 14 coats of lacquer, and then even the individual coffins and everything. It tributes to the Liberty, and obviously we go all out every year when we come out with the Liberty, right? It's not your typical price point for a Camacho. It's a little bit higher, but it pays off just because of if you're gonna give that as a gift to someone, there's not going to be any other box out there that's going to be, represent America as that one does, for example. So
yeah,
Love it.
the presentation is just outstanding. And having smoked, because I did smoke one of these, and you're right about the fact that because it's a box press and because it's such a large ring gauge, it's there's not as much resistance on the draw, but that actually meant for me, the one that I smoked is I could smoke it slow.
Yeah.
Because smoking something with a looser draw, if you smoke it too fast, it's going to heat up. So I could just sit there and take a puff every 60 seconds, and it just kept going.
Yeah,
and
there's
tons of smoke output, but I didn't have to keep nursing it. It just kept chugging along, and I didn't have to rush my way through it. It was a very leisurely smoke that I could literally just sit back and enjoy.
And I hope that you had a long ash, because the construction of these is just outstanding.
Yeah.
The construction of those, I've smoked them since they came out, and prior to that, when I was in Honduras, and just the construction of it, it's impeccable. At least, and every time that I grab one, at least I guess I get about an inch and a half of ash, right? And I try to snap a picture here and there, but usually ends up falling. But the construction, and then just that perfect amount of resistance that it has, it makes it a very enjoyable cigar.
Yeah.
I was just gonna say, if we can go back to the core line for a second, and I want to know about the Scorpion. What's the story behind the Scorpion?
The Scorpion, it's the brand mascot, and why? Because they're native to the area that we grow our tobaccos, right? Actually, in all of Honduras, I have to agree, because my city is about 6.5 hours away from Danlí. I'm on the north coast, but scorpions are everywhere. It is not uncommon to be walking around the factory or around the field, or sometimes within the Camp Camacho guest house property, and see the scorpions, right? I think when we were doing the revamp of Camacho, we needed something that was bold. Doesn't get any bolder than the Scorpion, and that it kind of signified a little bit to the heritage of the brand, right? Of the brand down in Honduras. And I think out of all the mascots that we could have picked for the brand, I think the Scorpion was the perfect one, because it symbolizes the brand, the boldness, it just unapologetic to the core that Camacho has.
Yeah, were you a part of that process?
Back in 2013, I was the last piece of the puzzle. I came in as the face of the brand, right? So I was going to execute a series of projects that our agency had planned for the development of the revamp. So no, all the tweaks, yes, but all the master plan that was made prior to me joining the company.
So with and we've talked to a few people about this. Obviously, we're in this strange time in 2020 where we can't go out and have events. Most people are grounded. They can't go out and do what we like to do, which as cigar smokers, we like to get together and spend time together. But for you guys at Davidoff and Camacho, what new and different and interesting things are you trying to reach your retailers and consumers during this strange time we find ourselves in?
We I think everybody else right now, that has stepped up to the game. We've geared our strength into social, right? That is just the easiest way to connect with our consumers at this time, and it's through social media, all of our social platforms. And I speak on a Davidoff scale, right? We've had my counterpart, Kellis Kellner, doing his the Crop Shop episodes, where he explains the craftsmanship and just all the pairings, and he explains the entire lineup of Davidoff. With Camacho, we're doing the same. I go on Camacho's Instagram Live from time to time, and feature one of the blends. Just recently I did the Nicaragua one, and just on social and also virtual events, right? We're trying to develop a series of virtual events that actually make sense to retailers, that actually, and we've done a combination of virtual and in-store events, just recently I had one with I was here sitting in my studio, and I had a store up in Michigan, and they were projecting the presentation, my presentation through the screens, right? So they had about 25 people in the store. So, and then we had some people online as well. So it's a combination of virtual / in-store events that we've developed, and also we're trying to engage more through social media. That's just, like I said, in a nutshell, that's just the easy way to connect with our consumers at the moment, given the circumstances. Once everything goes back to normal, obviously, there is nothing better than communicating face to face with the consumer and explaining to them the blends and see their reactions, right on the spot. But yeah, so that we've been trying to do a couple different things, and also with Avo, we've had a couple launches of in the brand, and also I've been going on Instagram Live and explaining a little bit, and we've been doing a couple other things. But yeah, just through social media, man. That's just the way to the future right now, and it's just the engagement that you get. It's there's nothing like being in front of someone and explaining to them and teaching them and just sharing the knowledge. But the reach that you have on social media, if done right, it is exponential.
Yeah.
When I can talk to 25 people in the store, I can talk to 2,500. In the same amount of time, share the same information. So that's just we've grasped the concept of social media as the future, and we're trying to implement it into our future scheduling of events and innovation and just the evolution of our marketing.
Yeah.
Well, that's speaking of Klaus Kellner, we had him on the show a few months ago, and that guy is an encyclopedia.
Today, man, wow. It's just unbelievable.
Isn't it crazy? Like, he is fascinating to listen to, and I love the education that you guys are doing about the process, from the farm to, just the whole thing. And that is what we need, and this is the perfect time to do it. So there's a lot of information out there, and I encourage all of our viewers and listeners to go and check out their Instagram. That is where they put out a lot of stuff.
He has a great one coming up tomorrow. What's tomorrow? 19th? Yeah, tomorrow. So he's going to be doing the Davidoff Nicaragua paired with Flor de Caña. All right. So he's going to have a couple of the ambassadors there. So, be on the lookout if you guys can tune in. Obviously, Plaza is going to do his, exceptional job at explaining the Davidoff Nicaragua side. But I think it'll be interesting to see what the Flor de Caña guys have to say, So it should be a good one. So it's tomorrow. I'm not sure what time, but if you go on our Instagram, Davidoff Cigars, it should be able to tell you. Or actually, it's on the Davidoff Geneva, because that one we're doing it through the store. So that should be very interesting. But yeah, like I said, that is just an example of us, developing these programs with and pairings with great companies. And then where would you, and it would be very specific, and you would not be able to have the reach that you have in that type of event, right? Where are you going to have Klaus Kellner and the ambassador Flor de Caña in one spot, and you're going to fit, I don't know, the reach of 2,500 people? It's impossible. It would not happen. So yeah, that is one of the ways that is a perfect example of how we're evolving and turning into our social media platforms, man.
Yeah.
And I kind of had a follow up. If do you? So I don't know if you consider Klaus, somebody who's mentored you at all, but who have been some of your mentors in this business?
Okay. Back in the day, I would say, man, and it's a long time friend of mine that I've known for years and has been there for me since the beginning. It's Juan Lopez from Gurkha. Just being a Miami guy, and then from there some other friends, right? And then just in the past 8 years, just my mentor would be hands down Dylan Austin, which is the president of our company right now. When I started, Dylan was just a brand manager, head of marketing for Camacho. And he's, you can see how I've learned a lot from the guy, to where a guy has succeeded to become the president of the company he started being the manager at. So yeah, it's just he is a world of knowledge, and yeah, I mean, I would have to put him on that number one spot, because it's helping me right now. Right, all the other guys that have been in my life had that my mentors have shaped me to where I was able to fit in a company structure, right, and a very aggressive team that we have here in the U.S. So, yeah, it's just, and it's crazy, man. Just because I've been in retail and being in Miami, I have become friends with a lot of people, right, in the industry. But yeah, there's been a few that have stayed and then that have helped me out, and yeah, just from the beginning, back from when I started managing that shop back in Coconut Grove in the year 2000, it's been Juan Lopez has always been there. Love the guy. Yep.
So one of the things that I've over the years, I mean, it's really since the rebranding of the Camacho look, but also a little bit before that. But I've always enjoyed some of the different and interesting limited edition projects that have come out. I was a big fan of the Blackout back in 2013. I was actually a big fan of the some of the Brotherhood series, like the Shellback and
Yes.
And so this is interesting because I've heard from a few cigar smokers who I consider big time cigar smokers. That particular blend, the Shellback, they didn't care for it at all. And I said, well, if you have any, send them to me because I want them. Because that was a blend that I loved a lot. So when it comes to those limited edition, whether it's the Brotherhood series or LEs or something like that, is that something that you guys are always on the lookout for something that maybe is more suited for a limited edition project instead of a core line, or are those like wish upon a star moments that you only run after those when they just pop up in your face?
Yeah, well, since the revamp, right, we've come out with a lot of limited editions as part of an innovation face of the brand, right, and not just the brand but the company itself, right. Since the rebrand, we've come out with a bunch of limited editions that had something extra, something unique. Either the great example, the Blackout, that one had tobaccos from 2002, 2004, 7 years ago, 2008, and something like that. So it was just very, very complex. Then actually today I posted another picture of some of our limited editions, and in the picture it was the Double Shock, right? That one I believe it was 2014. It was just us again innovating, and it was two cigars individually banned, and then a secondary band that put them together. Those were barber poles, right? That one had the wrapper of I think it was the Ecuador Habano wrapper, and then Triple Maduro wrapper. So you would have the combination of those two flavors.
Yeah.
And then just the Brotherhood series, the Shellback, the Czech 6, the Hard Charger, all that stuff. It's just Camacho is very bold, and it just tied very well with that innovation phase of the brand. Now, all these lines that we came out with, those are prior to the FDA. Starting to manage the way that we launch cigars and stuff like that, just making it a little bit harder, to where now we've brought it down to maybe once a year the core offering, and then our Liberty, right? I think those two are manageable, and also bringing one that will stay, which is usually the core one. For example, in this year it's the Nicaragua. That one stays, and then the Liberty is the one that is limited, right? So I think we balanced it out to where that works out well. We're not the type of company that will come up with new stuff just to sell, right? And try to not confuse the consumer, because that is nobody's intention. But it's just the way that they do business, right? New cigar here, new cigar there, new cigar there, new cigar there. And after a while, it's like, okay, as a retailer, you're like, man, I don't have room for all your new cigars, right? So I think that's a little aggressive. To each his own. People do things differently, but yeah. So we've narrowed down to now, possibly just doing one core offering and a limited edition, which is the Liberty. And I think that's it's worked out very well for us. It's manageable in terms of quality and consistency, packaging, and everything. It's just it just works out well.
Well, I also think it's manageable for the consumer, because you know, the consumer, they're going to be, even if it's a medium to small brick and mortar retailer, they walk in the humidor, and if they're only into premium cigars for a year or less, they could walk into a cigar humidor and really be overwhelmed by so many things on the shelf. And if you guys, like you said, if you're focusing on the core lines and then, you know, a few special things here and there, like the Liberty every year and that kind of thing, I think it, in the end, it makes it easier on us as consumers because we don't, although limited edition projects are fun, if it's going to take shelf space away, like let's say you've got a cigar smoker who is a diehard Camacho Connecticut fan. If his favorite size of the Camacho Connecticut has to take a backseat to a limited edition cigar, you know, he might not be happy about that. He'd rather
100%.
see his favorite core line cigar, you know, on the same spot on that shelf every week that he goes into his favorite shop and buys his box of cigars. And I think in the end, it makes it easier on consumers to just say, okay, this is the core of this company's flavor profile, their design profile, their identity as a brand, and it makes it easier for consumers like us.
And that's where we tie in the color scheme, right? That is something that believe me, we heard a lot of crap back in the day when we came out with our oversized rings, bands, and just the color, you know, when we had the Criollo and all that stuff, and Corojo and all the colors, people were, you know, making fun of us. But it was all perfectly crafted so that the consumer could recognize the brand. So maybe the revamp and everything that we've created was a little too ahead of the cigar consumer, but in the end, now somebody walks into a store and they want Camacho, they don't even know which one it is, but they know it's the red box.
That's right.
Or the orange one. Now they'll have a little trouble with this Nicaragua because this one's like a burnt orange, and the other one's like a light orange. But yeah, just or the teal box or whatever, you know, I mean, it makes it a lot easier. And going back to the limited editions, limited editions are fun, right? And then we just finished last year. We finished our diploma series, where we had 3 years of diploma. We had the original diploma, then the second one, and then the diploma black. But it's just when we create these, we try to make them fun as a limited edition, obviously, so it is visually attractive for somebody to buy. But the downside is that we do have to go a little bit, you know, outside of the box when it comes to the boxes themselves. And yes, let's just say a box of Diploma Black or the original Diploma will take up, you know, almost two facings of your regular Connecticut Robusto, right? So it's a balance that we have to play. That's why those are limited editions. We make up, you know, a substantial amount less of boxes of cigars, so that then we're not stuck with just stuff that obviously didn't sell, right? I wish we kind of could sell them online or somebody that doesn't have to worry about the space, but that would be totally unfair to the retailer that supports us, you know. So it's one of those that it's just it's tough to balance out, but yeah, like I said, now just imagine the box of Liberties. That box of Liberties, it's a big box.
Yeah.
Right. And to put it on the shelf, you have to, if you carry 3 sizes of your Connecticut and you have no more room, you have to take at least that Robusto out or something to fit that one in, you know. So it's a give or take, you know, but limited edition projects are just so much fun, man. You know, I wish we could get away with some other things nowadays, but it's just it's tough with everything that's going on with the FDA and everything. Just, you know, it's crazy time. So we go for the certain, which is our core, you know, strengthening our core, and obviously, you know, paying the tribute to our Liberty editions, which has been, you know, our thing for the past 18 years.
Yeah.
Well, I've said for a while that the Camacho core line is one of the most visually wonderful marketed cigars out there. If you walk into a humidor that carries, if you walk into a humidor that carries the Camacho, it's right there. If you're a Camacho fan, you just have to look through the sea and you're like, there's the crayon box, I'm going over there.
Yeah, and as cheesy, as funny as it may sound, for the consumer, it's a lot easier to recognize the color, the boxes.
Absolutely.
Now, where Camacho does stand out, and it's just you can't really, unless there's another one from our brand, is the stores that have the shop and shops. Have you seen the shop and shops, the Camacho shop and shops, the cabinets? Well, if you do, it's just you've seen the Davidoff shop and shops, right? Where they sell. So it's the same model for Camacho, and we have one for Avo as well. So basically, there are these cabinets that is just they scream Camacho or Avo in your face, and then you cannot miss them. And they have all the offerings, and we have the Duratrons where we change the whatever campaign we have at the moment, and it's just and some stores have the Avo and the Camacho one, and then their sales double or triple just because it and just it screams confidence, right? When you go into a cigar shop and you see a brand that has that type of display, you must be doing something right? This is not trial and error. Not like, oh yeah, they just to see they threw something on the wall and see if it sticks. No, this is well thought out. Those shop and shops are expensive for us to have, and that's just the best representation of our brand at the retail level.
Well, actually, we do have one of those. So Tobacco Grove.
Do they have one?
Yeah, Tobacco Grove here, in
they have
which
both
is
the Davidoff. Oh, that's right, they do.
Which is on the northwest side of Minneapolis. Okay. They've got I think it's I want to say it's the north wall of the walk-in humidor. It's got the Camacho, the Avo, and the Davidoff. And the layout is beautiful, and everything's easy to find.
Put yourself in the shoes of a consumer. You walk in there, and then you have the sea of brown, and then you have these three displays. At least, if you don't pick up anything from there, perfect. But at least it'll call your attention. And next time you see Avo Camacho, it'll be like, oh, this is this. You put one and two together. You know what I mean? Be like, oh my God, this is the store that had I saw this at XYZ store, blah blah blah. So it just it screams confidence, for the brands. I love those shop and shops.
So for the core lines, like you said, you guys are really putting focus into those. I agree that that's important. So for our consumers that are watching and listening, that are maybe a little bit familiar with the core lines, but maybe not as familiar as we would want them to be. What give us kind of the quick rundown of the core lines, like the Corojo, the Connecticut, the Ecuador, and even the barrel aged series.
So I'll give you the brand pyramid, right? We'll start from the bottom in terms of flavor profile, price point. We have your Criollo, right? Criollo, it's a medium bodied cigar. It does have a nice Criollo 98 wrapper, which makes it look on the darker side. It's a darker wrapper, so you would never think that it's a mild to medium cigar. But what's on the filler, it's got some Piloto Cubano and some other tobaccos that make it sweet. So that one it's on the mild to medium side, right? Then you have your Connecticut. Connecticut, we were talking about, before the show. That's our bestseller, right, by far. So you have the Connecticut. Then after that, you move up the food chain a little bit. You have the Ecuador, right? Ecuador is medium to full bodied. The complexity of the cigar changes a little bit. It's the first time that we use actually not the first time, but it's one of the few times that we use some Brazilian tobacco in there as well, which gave it a different flavor profile. And then you have our Pride and Joy, right? I take that back. Now, in between the Ecuador and the Corojo, we have the Nicaragua. We've talked about that one already. Next one would be the Corojo, right? Which is the DNA of the brand. That is our Honduran Puro, wrapper, binder, filler. It's all original Corojo. And then after that, you have the Triple Maduro, right? The Triple Maduro, the name says it all. It's Triple Maduro. Each component of the cigar has been fermented for an extra 6 to 8 months, so they mature, and then they become that Maduro tobacco, and then the cigar is rolled, right? And then after that, we have our Master Built series, which it's the Camacho American Barrel Age, right? And the American Barrel Age, that one, it's about 95% of it is American tobacco. And then we use one leaf of the filler that is aged in bourbon barrels, right, for 5 months. Basically, it's just that one leaf of the filler. It's getting the devil's cut out of the barrel, right, for 5 months, and then the tobacco is taken out and rolled into the 3 formats that we have. Actually 6 formats, 3 core formats, and then we have 3 artisan sizes. And then you have our next step was the Nicaraguan barrel age, right? Same procedure. One thing on, for example, on the American barrel age, that is actually the first and only Camacho cigar that is made in our Davidoff factory in the Dominican Republic, right? So that one is not made in Honduras. Why? Because at the moment, back in 2015 when we launched it, and that one we had a heavy presence in the market. It was pushed by a national road tour that I did. When I don't know if you guys recall, I used to drive the entire country with a big truck and trailer. I did it for 3 years in a row. And that one, so that one was the biggest launch Camacho has ever had, the American barrel age. And then we went into the Nicaraguan barrel age. Same procedure. That one is made in Honduras, and it's 1 leaf of the filler, which is some Nicaraguan Corojo, that is aged in the Flor de Caña barrels. And then the Flor de Caña barrels that we use is Flor de Caña 25, right? And the same process goes in for 5 months, that 1 leaf of the Nicaraguan Corojo, and it's getting the devil's cut out of the barrel. And then it goes into the rolling floor, and it becomes a cigar. And those 2 are the ones that are a little bit more on the complicated process, because every time I go down to Honduras and I take our guests and then show them around, man, it's a pain in the butt to open up those barrels. Yeah, right. It takes 3 guys, and they're there with the little chisels and things and opening them up, and I feel bad because they're like, "Hey, George, you want to open the barrels?" I'm like, "Yeah, please." So it's like they start barrel, and you have the 3 guys bring the barrel, opening it up. But just that aroma that you get out of that barrel, wow, it's outstanding. Just that smell that comes out of it is just delicious. So that one, it takes a little bit more time. The process is a little bit longer, but the results are just 2 exceptional blends. And what else we have? And then we have our limited editions, the Liberties, right? It's a limited edition in terms of quantity, but it's a yearly event for us. So it's not that it's going anywhere anytime soon. We'll have some Liberty for a little while. And and that one changes. Every blend, it's different. We've done a couple of throwbacks. This year we talked. In fact, I'm going to light up one now. We changed it up, a few times. So that one we can't really keep track, just because there is no track to keep. Right. Every year we come out with something a little bit different to pay tribute to the American independence. We try to usually release this one prior to 4th of July.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Now, for the Lancero lovers out there, are you going to throw the phone?
Garrett's always got to bring up Lanceros.
I love Lanceros. I really love Lanceros. We unfortunately, it's not a size that sells. We're not a boutique brand, a company, right? So we move masses. Lots of tobacco, still very perfectly crafted. Every attention to detail and every blend, quality, consistency, and all. But just that one. Lanceros, it's not a size that sells a lot. Like, unfortunately, we I don't know if you guys noticed, but when we revamped Camacho, each line had a Corona size, and they're no longer there, just because unfortunately that is not a size that sells a lot. Yeah. Right. So if you're gonna put all your efforts and in terms of spend in packaging and rolling, and then you have cigars and they don't sell, and then unfortunately you have to move them, and then you have to discount it, whatever it is. So we're trying to eliminate all that. So just some sizes just don't sell now. I would love to have a I don't know, maybe a Connecticut Lancero.
Yes.
Or oh my God, that'd be amazing. or maybe this Nicaraguan, the Lancero size, or maybe a triple Maduro Lancero. Wow.
Dude.
Those are all hopes, man. Those are all hopes.
I want to fight the idea that Lanceros don't sell, because there are shop.
There is a market for it. Yes,
There is
100%.
a market for it,
But
and
it's just us cigar nerds really that buy the Lanceros. Most average consumers don't buy them.
yeah, because
I
they
think
don't know.
what's a company that I know that has Lanceros? I think that Twaja has some Lanceros.
Oh, yeah.
Alcione has Lanceros.
Yes.
Caldwell has Lanceros. I like Caldwell's Lanceros.
Yep.
Herrera Esteli.
Man, I forgot to mention Robert. So in terms of one of those mentors that we were talking about, so I've known Caldwell for 16 years now. I met him in 2004. He lived in Minneapolis, if I'm not wrong, back in the day. And so we started, like he would come to the store when I was managing in and all this stuff, and then we venture off. We were going to start this, small company, which he still has at the moment, Hotel Humidor. But at the time, I needed to focus on the store and the work. I had my bills to pay and stuff like that. I couldn't just venture off in something. But we stayed in contact, right? And then we went to the first and only cigar festival in Honduras. The name of it is was Humo Jaguar, right? And then we flew down because we had a meeting with somebody else that completely blew us off. But thank God that happened because we got to meet the Davidoff guys, right? Which we had known before. And at the moment it was Dylan and then some of the other guys. And then from there is that Caldwell started with a great relationship with Davidoff, and until this day he's one of our good friends. And that's how we evolved. But Caldwell has a lot to do in where I am and that mentorship that you guys asked me before. So I completely forgot about Robert.
Yeah, Robert's good people. Yeah.
But he's got some good Lanceros, actually. I have a bag that he gave me a while ago. Some rejects, he says. But he's like, hey, smoke him. Some of them may not pull a draw or anything, but I've smoked about 15 of the ones that he gave me in that big bag, and they've all been good. So I got lucky. But back to that Lanceros. I love him. I personally love him, but they just don't sell.
Yeah. I'll sell them for you, man.
Man.
He'll buy them all as well.
Yeah, we'll have to make them in bundles. In bundles. Yeah, that way, it's just it's an attractive. But Lanceros, it's a great cigar. Now, they have to be made very well.
Yeah.
Right, because they could go bad real quick in terms of the draw, and then just imagine. I mean, I'm sure you guys have been down to Nicaragua or Honduras and seen the rolling process and everything. Man, to roll a Lancero, wow! You have you have your three binders, your three fillers. You have your binder, and then you manage to put that beautiful wrapper on this skinny ass cigar. Yeah. Wow, that is unbelievable. Same thing with our little machitos. The ones that come in the tin, the tiny ones. Yeah. Wow, I was actually the other day I was in Honduras and I was walking around and then it caught my attention. I'm like, all right, where do we make the machitos? So I walked over. It's probably it was like 4 sets of rollers and bunchers that were in the corner, just rolling machitos, man. Same thing, the little filler, because they're a long filler and everything. It's just it's unbelievable how they make perfect little things like this. It's crazy.
Well, and those machitos, those tins, that's a great point for our viewers and listeners. Is if you want a short cigar that you can grab a tin of and just put them in your pocket and take them on a weekend trip, it's a great cigar to just have a quick smoke in between meetings or whatever it is you're doing. Short
in time, the machitos got you covered because we only have them in 3 offerings, right? We do the Criollo, the Connecticut, and then the Corojo. It's the same blend, the same tobacco, the same breakdown, just that, in long filler cigars, but they're just tiny, right? So if you like, let's just say your Connecticut, I personally love the Connecticut's and the Corojos. Yeah. The Criollos, it's good. It's not big. I like the other 2 better. Yeah. But just whenever you want a quick smoke, literally you have 10, 15 minutes and you want that full cigar flavor profile, packed into this little thing like that. The machitos are perfect.
Yes, they are.
So George, out of the many Camacho lines, what's your favorite? What's your desert island cigar from the Camacho lines?
Ooh,
Who's your favorite child?
Yeah.
that's tough. That's tough. I would have to say the American barrel aged in a Toro size would be my ultimate favorite. And then I start thinking, okay, yeah, that. But then I also like the Triple Maduro Figurado, which I love that one. But yeah, I mean, if you give me three, make it fair. So yeah, number one, American barrel aged. You're at Toro size. Number two, Triple Maduro Figurado. And then number three, man, I would have to go with the Nicaragua Robusto. You know, I would have to go with the Nicaragua Robusto, just because I smoke a lot. Right?
Yeah.
And then sometimes the Connecticut's are great to fill in gaps, right?
Mm-hmm.
If it's nothing, you know, if it's just an uneventful day and I want to just grab a cigar and I don't, it doesn't hurt if I don't finish the cigar, a Connecticut all day. You know what I mean? No problem. But yeah, so that would be ABA, Triple Maduro, and then Nicaragua, and obviously in their respective sizes. But yeah, those three would be my favorite ones.
Okay. Well, let's move into this week's Smokabulary word.
Ooh.
And guys, as always, Smokabulary is brought to us by AJ Fernandez, and I need to pull this up on my screen. There we go. AJ Fernandez, born and raised in Cuba. AJ Fernandez now produces unparalleled premium cigars in Esteli, Nicaragua. The day-to-day operations at Tabacalera AJ Fernandez are managed under the watchful eye of Mr. Fernandez himself in order to ensure superior quality. The AJ Fernandez portfolio of premium cigars provides blend, strength, and flavor profiles to match the preferences of any premium cigar consumer. Whether it's New World, Dias de Gloria, San Latano, or Enclave or Bellas Artes, you are sure to be satisfied with a premium cigar from AJ Fernandez. So this week's Smokabulary word is canoe.
Mm. So
Garrett, when we're talking about cigars and I say the word canoe, what do you think of immediately?
A paddle. Oh, cigars. Okay. So a canoe is when it is definitely not what we're experiencing.
Yeah,
No.
So a canoe can happen for a lot of reasons, but it is when it starts to burn unevenly. And there's a lot of things that you can do to prevent canoeing. One is toasting and lighting the cigar from the start properly.
Right.
So
that's the first step in avoiding having a canoeing issue. Where if you guys have smoked a cigar and it starts to burn really fast on one side and the wrapper on the side is still not burned, that's basically what we're talking about with a canoe. So Garrett's totally right. So toasting and lighting, that's step number one to avoid that. Toast it properly and thoroughly, and that's the first step.
Yep. And then other things, obviously, if it is a, maybe a budget cigar, they are more prone to canoeing because of construction. But other factors are going to be environment. If you are smoking on a windy day, just expect to have some canoeing happen.
Yep.
And you're going to have to probably touch it up, which is perfectly fine. If you're outside smoking and it's a windy day, expect to do that. That doesn't mean that it was a poorly constructed cigar.
Right. It could be storage. If you're storing it right, with a Boveda pack. If it's a cigar that's not in a cellophane wrapper and you're storing it with a Boveda pack right on top of it, the chances are that one side of the cigar is going to be a little bit more humid than the other side of the cigar.
Mm-hmm.
Just pay attention to it. And, one of the things that if you get a cigar that gets a little bit of an uneven burn and starts to canoe on you, that doesn't mean that it's a bad cigar. They're handmade products. Sometimes, because the leaves, and George can talk about this a little bit too, the leaves combust and burn at different rates, depending on what's in the filler and what the leaves are that the binder's made from. And just keep your lighter close by.
And also has to do with the deveining of the tobacco, right? So we have these machines in Honduras that they call strippers, right? The strippers literally strip the vein from the leaf, and sometimes in other cigars that are not premium per se, right? Like more mass produced cigars that are just at affordable prices. That is just sometimes overlooked, right? And then you have some of these cigars that have veins. So if that's happening, you may also want to see if you have a vein that is outlined on the wrapper, that you can see that's maybe that binder was not the best binder or the best one that was sorted out to make that one cigar. That could happen, but you guys hit every other point. It's just the conditions of the cigar. Good one with the Boveda pack on top. If you have all that humidity in that first row of cigars, yeah, you may want to rotate them a little bit, right? Yep. But yeah, just the construction, and then windy days, that's usually when it happens, right? If you're out playing golf or you're out on the beach or whatever, if you're riding your motorcycle in your cigar canoes, what do you expect? You're going 50, 60 miles an hour, So yeah, all those things happen. But for the most part, give the cigar, a good run, right? Give it a good inch, right? And most of the time, cigars, if rolled properly, they self-correct themselves.
Yes, exactly.
Most of the time, yes. Wow. So and then that's another thing. These are handmade products. You know what I mean? It's not that there's a machine that is pumping out, thousands of cigars a minute. No, this is just a roller and a buncher, sitting down on their, day pumping out, 500 cigars a day. It's not perfect. We try to make it perfect. That's why we have very rigorous quality controls. But yeah, you'll have a few in there that will come out, and then that stuff like that will happen. But like I said, most of the time cigars will they'll fix themselves.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. They usually self-correct. If they don't, like I said, keep your lighter close by. If you have to give it a little touch up on one side, please do that. If I'm sorry, but I have no sympathy for you. If you're smoking like a 6-inch long Toro size cigar and you get halfway down the cigar and it's burning unevenly and horribly unevenly, and you haven't even taken the effort to pick up your lighter and touch it up a little bit, I have no sympathy for you.
That's on you.
That's on you.
Yeah.
So if somebody's going to, and I've seen people, we've all seen some of these people on social media who post a picture of a cigar that's burned unevenly and they complain about it. And the first thing I ask is, did you touch it up? And if the answer is no, I shouldn't have to. I'm sorry, but that's a stupid answer.
Yep. Yeah, it's just as easy as touching it up, blowing a little bit just to kind of, you see the fire combusting that side of the leaf that has not self-corrected. These are you have to nurture these things, man. Yep. No matter how much you pay for it, it's just an experience. It's you and your cigar, right? Maybe you're smoking it too quick. You know what I mean? You're not letting the combustion run its course. There's so many factors, right? Exactly. There's so many factors, and it's going back to how you teach not retailers but consumers at retail stores. I've had to do these little things of how to fix the cigar and why is it burning like this and all that stuff a million times face to face with the consumers. But for the most part, the cigar will self-correct itself. They're handmade products. Yeah. And if you paid $3 for it, come on, bro. You know what I mean? Come on.
Yeah. Yep. Well, that is this week's Smokabulary Word, brought to you by AJ Fernandez. And now it is time for Numero de los Muertos.
All right, this week's Numero de los Muertos, brought to you by Oveja Negra Brands. They bring you premium smoking experiences forged from tobacco, time, and talent. Comprised of Black Label Trading Company, Blackwork Studio, Dissonant, and Emilio. Oveja Negra Brand provides smokers uncompromising blends renowned for their flavor and lasting impression. Oveja Negra, where art and tobacco collide. Join the flock. Visit ovejanegracigars.com to learn more. All right, guys, we've got a good one. All right.
See what we get.
All right.
So I actually have two numbers for you. I've got a U.S. number and a global number. So the U.S. number is 6 people die a year from this, but globally that number is 113.
Okay. Every year
is the average.
Okay.
And the U.S. is 6.
U.S. is 6. Globally, it's 113. Yeah. Suck it, Chad.
They fall off a skyscraper while they're building it. No, they don't have their harness.
George, you are incredibly close.
Wow.
Yeah.
George's coming out swinging. He's got like almost the right answer right off the bat. I have no idea. So he's on the right track.
Oh. You had the hammer and there was the nail, and you just ticked the nail.
Okay.
So you are like right there.
It has to do with heights.
It does.
People that fix towers, telecommunication towers, maybe.
Nope.
It's closer to the skyscraper building.
Yes.
Ooh. So it's a building. I mean, it's the. Okay.
So, like big, tall structures, like bridges.
It's not a wind turbine, or it could not be a wind turbine. It's a building.
Go back to skyscrapers.
Skyscrapers. The window cleaning people.
Yes.
Yeah.
Is window washers.
I am
Window
so
wash
off right now. I figured we were going to go on this for a long time, and George struck that out of the air.
Hey man, I've seen a lot of YouTube videos, and that's crazy. Well, there you go.
That is insane. So here's the interesting thing about this is it is a highly unregulated occupation. Mm-hmm. Even in the US, it's so especially like places like Dubai and China and Korea that have been building a lot of big buildings.
Yeah.
There's no regulation, and these guys are completely unprepared. And these really, really tall buildings, a lot of the new ones that, they're just figuring out how to wash these windows, don't have good anchor points, and they're not strong enough. And the winds have been brutal, especially over in the UAE. Yeah.
It's funny because I mentioned I'm from Miami, right? And I lived in Brickell in downtown Miami. And I remember, this guy may have been part of the statistics of those 6 that year. There was one, it was a windy day, and one of the condos that had just been built, they finished it up, and they were getting ready for, people to move in, whatever. They were cleaning the windows, and the thing lost control because they're just hanging on 2 wires, basically.
Yeah.
Like 4 wires. And then the wind, and then one of those wires breaks, and then that's it. You're on your own.
That's right.
And then you start spinning, and then so this guy, unfortunately, he fell off, and I think he was up on the 35th floor, and he didn't survive. But so it's funny that I got that. But I've seen it not firsthand, but I've seen it within my neighborhood of something like that happening. It's crazy. And it's funny because the other day I had somebody come and detail one of my cars. And he's like, "Oh no, I'm going to go here on Bayshore to wash this building." I'm like, "Oh, like office building?" No, it's like one of those skyscrapers. And I'm like, "What do you mean that you do that stuff too?" He's like, "Yeah, man, that's my little side gig, whatever." So obviously, this guy is not a trained skyscraper window cleaner or I don't know. And then later on, he was posting on his Instagram that he was up on the 40th floor, just there hanging out with the little thing, washing the windows. I'm like, wow, it's crazy.
Wow. Well, I remember when I first started working where I'm working now, I was up on the 36th floor, and it freaks you out the first time because I had never worked that high up in a building before. So I'm working up on the 36th floor, and all of a sudden, I'm just sitting there working. All of a sudden, I see this dude outside the window. It freaked me out. I was like, "Holy shit! What?" And he's got there with the squeegee and all this. Yeah. Man, and it took a while to get used to that.
In the condo that I used to live at, they would send memos of obviously, hey, we're gonna clean the windows on this line, whatever, of the building, so that obviously if you're there, you're up on the 25th floor, you don't expect some dude to show up on your window. You know what I mean? So they would let everybody know just to make sure that everybody closed their blinds or blah, 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 and so on and so forth. But yeah, well, that's a crazy profession, man. You know, it's pretty crazy. Wow. And I didn't know. I mean, considering, right, that all these windows get cleaned every year, all these cities and stuff, only 6, that's not bad.
It's really not bad.
Yeah.
That's not bad. You know, I mean, the ones that unfortunately go, it's just because that they were marked.
Yeah. Well, and in the States, I mean, you think there's only 6 in the States, and there's what, 135 worldwide?
113.
113. So, that's crazy.
And you think about, we've got like OSHA and you know, other regulatory groups here that are really focused on safety, and a lot of countries, they don't have that. You know, they just hire people, and you know, they don't regulate it as highly.
Speaking of other countries and things that are a little dangerous and whatever, so in our factory, and actually no, in our farm in Honduras, in our curing barns, how many times have you seen these guys just climb up these, you know, curing barns and move the tobacco, the sticks and all that stuff? Our guys actually started. They hate it though, but we enforced harnesses. They wear harnesses now. When they go and climb up, do all these things, they're with the harness, right? Just to make sure nothing ever happened, but it's just one extra little, you know, method to keep everybody safe, right? The safety is the priority down there. And I mean, even though it's not that high, sometimes you're up at the height of the, you know, 2-3 stories. Yeah. You know, when you go to these curing barns and you fall, you're done. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's crazy. I don't know. I think we may be the only ones in Honduras that do that. But yeah, our guys go and do the monkey business with harnesses on. Yeah. Crazy.
That was this week's Numero de los Muertos. All right. And real quick, I want to go back to our smokabulary word of canoeing. So this isn't a canoe, but this is a point where I would normally take a lighter to it and just give it a little touch up. And I'm just going to show you here.
And that'll probably self-correct.
And this would totally self-correct.
Like maybe not even a quarter of an inch.
Yeah, that would self-correct.
Yeah.
Should we see? Let's test that theory.
Yeah, let's leave it go. So, all right, George, lightning round questions. If you could choose to hear the thoughts of one living person for 10 minutes, who would it be and why?
Elon Musk. if you said living, that was like, if not, it would have been Steve Jobs. But Elon Musk. What a revolutionary mind that we have in this planet, man. Yeah, Elon Musk. Yeah, I want to see that guy's vision. I mean, his bank account is pretty loaded, so that way he can. But yeah, Elon Musk.
Great.
I think he's defined new boundaries with everything that he's doing, and just Tesla alone. I mean, come on, that the company's worth more than all the other automakers combined. Yeah, you know. And then he's doing the stuff that he's doing with SpaceX and everything, and then God knows with that space card that he sent with the thing that he sent over there is probably God knows where. Yeah. But he's the only one that did that. He sent a car out to space, and it's going. Yeah. I don't know where it is now, but it's going. So just that level of like, all right, let me do something on this planet before I go. Yeah, I would love to spend 10 minutes and see what his the outline when it comes to a project, what his first outline is. You know. Yeah, definitely Elon Musk.
I think the last report was that car was still stuck in the drive-thru at Chipotle.
Yeah.
Wait, Chipotle has a drive-thru?
Oh man, does it?
So
Chipotle has a drive-thru.
Yeah. So George, if you were about to get into a fight, what soundtrack music would come on?
Ooh.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Let me see.
Please say Milli Vanilli.
No, I don't know, man. I don't know. That's a tough one. I'm not a big fighter.
But if you were in a movie, let's say there's a movie made about you and you're...
It would have to be some, some rock. I would say probably around, anywhere from 130 to 140 BPM. That way it's, we get some momentum. It goes par with the heart rate going up, at 140, like if you're working out. So yeah, something like that. I don't have anything, any band in particular that comes out, but I gave you the bit rate more or less of where I would want to stand, anywhere from 130 to 140 BPM with rock, maybe up, a rock guitar in the back or something like that, something like that, an electric guitar in the back, something like that. That would probably get me pumped up.
I think Slash is definitely involved.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, something like that.
So choose one of the following. You could hit a home run as a starting pitcher. You could score a touchdown as a defensive lineman. You could score a hockey goal as the goalie, or you could score a soccer goal as the goalie.
Oh,
you're not a big,
but soccer goal
soccer
as a goalie. Yeah, I mean that, and it's been seen many times.
Yeah,
because if you leave your goalie and you go on the other side and you score, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's just that you covered a lot of boundaries that should have never happened. So yeah, that you need a big pair of cojones for that. You need your goalie unattended. Yeah. Because that rebound would be quick, so you have to get back all the way, real quick. So yeah, it would be the soccer one.
Yeah. So what's the number one piece of advice that you find yourself giving to newer premium cigar consumers, somebody who's new to the game?
Okay, I would do my research, right, as to what flavor profile I may like, right? Obviously, I would not recommend, somebody, and I've done this before. I wouldn't recommend somebody smoking, starting, let's just say with our Camacho cigars, starting with a triple Maduro, right, or maybe even a Corojo, right? So I would, I started smoking when I started smoking back in, I think it was like 2003 or something. I started with the flavor ones. Right, I think it was the acid bellicoso, the blondie bellicoso. That's the one that because it was a very mild cigar. Yeah. Right, you have to start mild, and then right there you may be able to gauge your flavor profile, your tolerance right away. If that's the case, then you step yourself to something a little more bold. But yeah, so basically, do your research. See what beginners are smoking. Most likely will be Connecticut wrappered cigars. Something on the mild side, and then venture off. Every cigar there is good and bad cigars, but for the most part, with premium cigars, they're all great cigars, right? Everybody's trying to do a good job at quality, the construction, the flavor profile. All these blends, they don't happen within a matter of hours. It's not something that you're like, oh my God, yeah, let's put that together, send it to market. No, these are tested. And sometimes when you create a blend, it's trial and error, right? So you put an X amount percentage of tobacco in the filler, but then, it's not the flavor profile that you want. So every one blend that is out there has been, crafted to hit that flavor profile. Now, is that flavor profile the one you are looking for? That is for you to decide. It's a very personal thing. But yeah, just explore, and there is, if, some people are like, oh my God, that cigar sucks in there. And they may have just smoked it once. All right. They may have had something spicy for lunch, and when they smoked, they smoked that cigar, obviously their palate was just on fire. Yeah. Right. And then just the tones of the cigar were not there. So yeah, start mild and give it at least a good 3 times, 3 tries to that one blend in particular. That blend, obviously, after your research, you pick these 3 blends per se, 3 brands or whatever. You go and you try them. You give them at least 3 times a chance. And after the 3rd time, if you really don't like it, try it with water. Try it with a spirit, with coffee. All those things, they open up your palate in different ways that the cigar may be able to squeeze in there and then give you the pleasure that is intended to, So basically that, just trial and error. There's no bad cigars out there, just some other ones that are, a little more higher in terms of quality and consistency than others. But yeah, it's just the blends, they're perfectly crafted to fill that gap in your palate, and that's something that you have to give it a chance to be able to enjoy that. Right?
Yeah, that's really good. So this week's notable smokable for me was gifted to me by Garrett here last Wednesday night. The Illusione one-off in the Churchill size was my. Crazily enough, I mean that blend's it was reintroduced by Dion. I want to say a couple of years ago, but I had just never tried it, never reached out for it, and Garrett gifted me one of those last week, and that was a really good cigar. That was a really good cigar.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to try the other sizes, other Vitolas in that blend, because I thought the Churchill was outstanding. So,
oh, they're all fantastic.
Yeah.
Yep.
They have Lanceros.
I know
This is not coming to Lancero.
No.
My notable smokable this week was the Padilla Maduro, and Padilla doesn't get enough play, I don't think. It's not a very popular cigar, not carried at a lot of lounges, but you guys, that Padilla Maduro is delicious.
Oh yeah,
Ernie had a great one back in the day. Well, I mean, I think he still has it. I'm not quite sure. The 1118, the Miami edition Padilla.
Yeah.
Wrong.
Yeah, I know.
Wow, that was a great one. Great cigar that he came out with back in the day. I'm not sure if he still has it or not, but back in the day, I remember I used to sell it great smoke for that Padilla.
Yeah.
George, what's something that you've smoked recently, outside of the Camacho brand that kind of caught your interest?
Yeah, it depends, man. Because, for example, I mean, lately, I obviously, I venture off in our lines, right? So I've been smoking a lot of the. In fact, this week, today, it's been 2 days. Yeah. So this week, I've been smoking probably the most out of the Winston Churchill, Davidoff Winston Churchill, the regular one, not the late hour, just the regular Winston Churchill. Such a pleasant smoke, right? On the medium to full bodied. The late hour will be the full body, but that Winston Churchill. In fact, I just had one today when I went to the office. Outside of my Camacho smokes, that's one that I've been enjoying a lot. Also, I last week on Friday, actually, I smoked the Davidoff Yamasa. Right?
Oh yes,
wow, what a tremendous smoke in the pyramid size, right? So I clipped the just the tip a little bit, right? So to try to constrain that combustion when it comes out. And wow, what a tremendous smoke! So yeah, those are my two that I've smoked. I haven't been smoking anything else lately because obviously I haven't been out to the stores. Usually when I go to a store, I go and I venture off and I ask around, be like, oh, what's your hot cigar now? And I buy a few, right? Obviously they're not my brands or anything, so I just go in to try out what's new, what's what's hot out there. But obviously I've been stuck here at home and from here to the office and back and stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm not gonna order stuff online. I have plenty of cigars.
Right.
Right. But yeah, I am a huge fan of Padrones. They're 1964. Like one of my ultimate favorites would be the Padron 1964 Maduro Pirámide.
Yeah.
Right. Those are just exceptional cigars, or the Exclusivo. That's something. If I had to pick, those definitely would be some of my the ones that I would pick. And other than that, I mean, I not that I tried to stay within the Davidoff family lately, but they're just the ones that are available to me at this time. You know what I mean? Yeah. That I can't go to a store and pick up an assortment of newbies.
Yeah. Well, I want to give everybody an update here. Look at Garrett's. Look at that burn issue corrected itself. See?
Yes, and it will. It will.
And I want to give our viewers and listeners as well. We have a giveaway tonight. So Garrett and I have some beautiful Camacho cigars from the beautifully curated collection of cigars here at howaboutthatcigar.com that we are going to give away to one lucky commenter on this video. So, and this contest is going to go until midnight Central Time, Sunday. So Sunday night, when the clock strikes midnight Central Time, if you comment on this video either on Facebook or on YouTube, any commenter is going to be entered into a random drawing to win a lovely selection of Camacho cigars from us here at How About That Cigar. And George is kind enough, he's also going to throw something in along with this beautiful prize pack.
We'll throw in a nice ashtray. Right, where's my camera?
Beautiful.
Nice ashtray, which is, this one's in the box, but this is how it looks like. Right? Beautiful. This is the one that I use here at the studio. But yeah, we'll give one of these. And I don't have it here, but I do have it in my office in the warehouse. I have a Camacho torch lighter as well that I'll throw in. So
nice.
One lucky winner will be able to take that torch lighter and this ashtray.
Nice.
So that is Sunday the 23rd.
Yeah, Sunday the 23rd when the clock strikes midnight Central Time. If you comment on this video on Facebook or the video on YouTube, it's the same video. So you can comment on either one. You can comment on both if you want to. We're going to select one lucky winner to receive a beautiful prize package. And we'll continue to promote this over the next few days to give as many people as possible a chance to win something cool. So we want to give you guys an idea. Next week, as always, we're on Tuesday nights, but next week is one of those weeks that we're going to have a special night. Instead of Tuesday night, we're going to be on Monday, August 24th, and we're going to talk to Dean Parsons from Epic Cigars. Very excited to have him on the show. So not Tuesday night, but Monday night next week on the 24th. We're going to talk to Dean Parsons from Epic Cigars. George, give everybody a final idea. Where's the best place for them to get the most up-to-date information, the latest and greatest from Camacho Cigars?
Our Instagram account, Camacho Cigars. Handle is at Camacho Cigars. That is, I handle that personally. So any questions that you guys have in terms of blends or releases or old stuff, whatever question you have about Camacho, please send me a DM. I'll be the one responding them at Camacho Cigars. That's the handle. So like I said, if there's any picture on the grid that you have a question about, please shoot out a direct message, and I'll try to answer it as properly as possible if there is an answer to your question there. But yeah, so basically, when you go on your Instagram and you go onto the Camacho Cigars handle, you'll be talking to me. So basically that's where you can get a hold of our newest and latest stuff. I try to keep that curated to where we have everything current. So yeah, that's probably the easiest way to get a hold of us. At Camacho Cigars.
Awesome. George, we can't thank you enough. Thank you so much for being on the show tonight and teaching us about Camacho and all our listeners and viewers, and just giving us insights into what's going on with Camacho these days. Thank you.
Thank you for the
Thank
cigar.
you very much for having me, man. This was good. It was fun. I think we shared a lot of knowledge to the listeners and then the viewers as well. And it was a lot of fun, man. Thank you very much for having me. When I reached out to you guys, with all humbleness, I'm like, hey, I want to be on the show. I want to talk about Camacho, So and you guys made it happen. So I really want to thank you for that. Thank you very much for having me.
Oh, absolutely.
It was a great time.
So for you guys, thanks again so much for watching and listening. As always, if you have any questions, email us directly at the website, howaboutthatcigar.com. Follow us on social media at HBT Cigar. And until we see you guys next time, burn cigars,
not bridges.
Take care, guys.
Thanks,
Thank
guys.
you.
Later, guys. Take